Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my first review for the third season of Better Call Saul. This is for the premiere episode, episode 1. It's called Mable. And spoiler warning if you have not seen this episode yet and you don't want to know the details of what happens in the episode. So I was pretty excited to see the return of Better Call Saul this year. I think that AMC did it in a pretty smart way where they put it on when The Walking Dead is kind of already over. Fear the Walking Dead hasn't started yet. And this is a pretty good time of the year to have Better Call Saul on because they don't have too many other shows really that I'm very into right now, like Into the Badlands and stuff like that. Obviously AMC has lots of shows, but there's only so many that I personally really enjoy. Walking Dead, of course, is one. Fear the Walking Dead is number 2 for me. Then we got Better Call Saul. After that, I don't really watch too many others. I've seen Riot with Norman Reedus. I've done a review for that. Like I said, Into the Badlands is okay, but I don't really review it. Don't really keep up with it. And so that's pretty much it from AMC right now for what they've got in terms of TV series I'm really into. Better Call Saul has been really great. I'm really happy to see that they have continued with the series and that, it's crazy that we're getting into our third season of Better Call Saul at this point. Breaking Bad was such a special show. It was so amazing. People even still talk about it sometimes nowadays. I often refer to it in my videos as like one of the best character-driven drama series that's ever been on TV. To see Walter White's transformation, one of the most profound and best transformations of a character throughout a series, to see from where he starts to where he finishes in Breaking Bad. So Better Call Saul, kind of an additional spin-off series, so to speak, a companion series, however you want to refer to it as, from Breaking Bad. So we start off this episode, we get to see Gene, which is Saul's or Jimmy's older self, after the events of Breaking Bad, which I really love because that really adds to this episode for me. It really adds to Better Call Saul that we don't just get a prequel and get to see it like before the events of Breaking Bad, but this is kind of more centered around Saul and, not just before, but also after. So getting to see the events before Breaking Bad and the events after. And I really like how it always kind of leaves the door open for more story later on and, with Jimmy after Walter and all the events of Breaking Bad are finished, which we do get to see in the intro of this one. And it might be my favorite part of the whole episode is the intro sequence in this premiere. Really great stuff. We get to see Gene at the Cinnabon. So Gene is he's a manager at Cinnabon now because he's got to keep a low profile after the events of Breaking Bad. He can't really do his lawyer thing because he doesn't want the feds or anybody to track him down and arrest him for his involvement with what happened with Walter and all the events of Breaking Bad. So I really like this one because you don't get to see this kind of stuff in TV series a lot, where you just get to see kind of like the monotony of like a regular kind of a day job that just like kind of wears you down, right? So he's going to the manager of a Cinnabon, he's like putting the icing on the thing, and we've been there, we've probably all been there. I worked in fast food for years, probably like I want to say like 4 or 5 years, all throughout college. After I finished even my last year of high school, I worked at like a Subway, and I worked at like a coffee shop. I was a baker and stuff. So man, totally get that, right? You totally get that. And so he goes on his lunch. You just see the look on his face and everything. It's just like so like, oh man, I've been there. I just so been there. Putting icing on the cinnamon buns and that kind of stuff. He goes off for his lunch, and so he runs into a kid who's shoplifting. He's sitting there eating his sandwich, homemade sandwich, of course, because we get the idea. He probably doesn't have much in the way of money nowadays, and he also wants to keep a low profile too and avoid people as best he can. It seems like he seems pretty reserved. He seems to kind of keep to himself, and so he's eating his homemade sandwich and everything, and so you got this kid who's shoplifting who runs up and kind of is all nervous and adrenaline's pumping and stuff, and because he's just shoplifting, he drops something like whatever it is he took, a game or something like that, or a movie or whatever. So he drops that in front of him, and he goes to hide in one of those photo booths, and you've got some cops that come down, and Gene or Saul, Jimmy, sees him go into the booth, and so he rats him out. He kind of points to the cops, and the cops find him. They kind of arrest him, and I really like this part, probably my favorite part of the episode, where he gets a twitch, right? And we've all had these too, right? You get an urge to do something, and you know you shouldn't do it, but the urge is so strong it just kind of takes over. I like the way they filmed it and everything too, because he's getting twitchy, and he just kind of comes out with it and says something he knows he shouldn't say. And it was great. It was really funny. Get a lawyer. He's like screaming at him. Don't say anything, that kind of deal. And then, he gets called an asshole. And then he finishes lunch, he goes back to work, and he kind of goes back into his regular, job manager mode, I guess. And he then passes out and falls down the floor, and the icing hits him. It's on the face. Which was just an awesome intro, because, of course, it raises the questions for this season. They're going to call an ambulance. When an ambulance comes and they try to check him and they make sure everything is okay with him, they're going to see the name Gene, and they're going to be like, who is this person? Registration, all this kind of stuff, healthcare, does he have coverage, this kind of deal, and we'll have to see what happens after that. He wakes up in the hospital, I presume, or something of the sort, but are they going to notice that, this guy's a fake person, or how's that going to go, or did he cover his tracks well enough so that even the system can't tell? So this will be interesting to see what happens if he's going to get caught now, because he's kind of passed out, and they're going to kind of try to figure out who this guy is, who's just, passed out at a Cinnabon, and see what happens with him, whether or not he gets if he can still maintain that low profile, or if he's gonna, because he's got health issues now and maybe has to go to a hospital, maybe he'll be found. So it raises some great questions for the season, and definitely is a great intro, because it gets you kind of hooked, and you want to see what happens next. You want to see if he's ever going to eventually get caught and find himself back in the slammer again. So the intro is actually my favorite part of the episode. After that, we get the confession, where we picked up off of last season we get Chuck. He plays the tape to Howard, who believes him. Howard can't think of a use for it, but Chuck can. I can. Right? So we'll have to see what Chuck has in mind. From all the promos for this season, we get the idea that Jimmy's going to, be arrested or tried or something. So it sounds like, from what we're seeing, Chuck is he's gonna press charges, I guess, or he's going to bring it to court. What is the right terminology here? He's going to bring it to court, and it's kind of crazy. I like also when he kind of goes back in afterwards and he's helping Chuck with taking down all the foil and stuff he's got on the walls, and brings up some childhood memories, and then Chuck is like, pretty much puts his foot down and says, no, you will pay. I won't forget. You will pay. So that's going to be the biggest thing for this season, I think, with Better Call Saul, is finding out if Chuck was the one who ratted him out, because also we do see, and I wouldn't be like, that seems like the natural thing that will happen here, based on who Chuck is, based on Chuck's character and his strict nature, that he'll probably, bring it to court and put Jimmy away for it. But also we get to see the captain, who kind of comes back, who's mad about Fudge. Fudge is not a person. And then, Jimmy's like, are you with him? He talks about like Top Gun and how that increased, people recruiting and people applying to be in the military and be a fighter pilot, this kind of thing. So it's pretty funny. So take the ad down, or they'll be held to pay, make me. And so they kind of go back and forth, and they leaves, and a lawyer, you can trust my ass, right? So that was a pretty good scene too. We'll see if maybe he does something about it also, because guys like that, tend to be pretty people of action. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Either way, from the promos, we kind of know that one way or another, he's going to end up, in jail for something, whether it be Chuck or whether it be the captain possibly pursuing further. I'm going to predict it's probably going to be Chuck, as you would think, but you never know. We'll see. So we've got that. Then we've got the transmitter stuff with Mike. So Mike this is one of the things I like about Mike so much, because I would have even really thought to even look for like a transmitter or something, but Mike is so smart. He like takes the whole car apart. He checks like everything, and it isn't until like the very last minute that he realizes like, oh crap, it's probably in the gas cap. So he goes out and he finds the gas cap and he sees it, and sure enough, there's the transmitter. He finds it, and so he kind of lures them in. He drains the one that they had. He replaces it with his own, and then he kind of flips the game and he tracks them. So that's basically where the episode ends, is with is with Chuck, on a nice stakeout, which I did like, and I like the way they use the kind of the passing of time here with the fast, montage with the scenes over and speeding up time was pretty cool. And then we have, Mike, who goes after, whoever it is who's tracking him. Hopefully Gus Fring. So hopefully we're going to get to see Gus soon. AMC's done lots of promos where they've kind of showed Gus and Los Pollos Hermanos, training, new employee training and stuff like that. Remember, stay calm. You can watch it on AMC's channel. It's pretty funny. Giancarlo Esposito reprising his role as Gus. So I enjoyed the premiere. I thought it was pretty good. It's a lot of setup. Most of it's a setup episode. So as such, we don't get any big payoffs in the premiere for Better Call Saul. But I did really like the scene at the end where you have a development with regards to Gene and whether or not maybe he's gonna get found out. So that's really cool. And like the stuff with Mike. Mike is such a super badass. We kind of already knew that already, but it's always fun to see Mike being a badass. It reminds me of some of those parts in like Breaking Bad where you'll have a guy that will try to come and kill him, and Mike will like turn the tables on him, right? And get up behind him and stuff. And oh man, Mike is really, really he's super badass. So there's that, and then of course the setup with when Jimmy's going to get arrested, and when that happens, if that all goes through, we'll see what happens with that. There was also stuff with Kim in this one too, with Kim and Jimmy being partners and kind of that starting to get some issues with that. Business partnerships are hard always because then people have to work together, and working with Jimmy from Kim must be difficult because Jimmy's so slanted and he never does anything like that. He always like shortcuts everything, right? So it's just how he is. So in terms of a premiere episode, I usually review premiere episodes on a little bit of a higher scale because they're premiere, so they're meant to get people excited for the season, get people to watch, get people to come back. I like this one. I'm just going to give it an 8.1 though, because I did feel like even though the intro was really good, and I like some of the developments in that, and a little bit of it I felt like was a little bit drawn out, maybe some stuff that we didn't really need to see 100%. But that said, I still really liked it. Solid 8.1, I guess, for a premiere episode. Better Call Saul tends to kind of be, I don't want to say slower paced, but it's a different kind of story. So it's good still, and I did really enjoy the premiere, and I really, really love that intro. It was really great. You guys can rate your comments below. Let me know what you thought about the Better Call Saul Season 3 premiere. Do you think it was a little bit dry? Maybe they could have put some more substance in it, a little bit, maybe some more events or some more big stuff. If they would have had Gus in the premiere, or they would have had Jimmy get arrested in this episode or something, then I probably would have given it like a 9.5, something like that. But I just felt like for a premiere, Better Call Saul, I think, is usually like that. Their premieres are not always killer. A lot of times it's just, that's kind of the pacing of the show is a little bit different from Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad, for example, is almost every episode there's something crazy happening. So and the pacing is even faster than this. So, but wouldn't it be crazy if Better Call Saul, I've been saying this for a couple seasons now, but if Better Call Saul got more seasons than Breaking Bad, that would be insane to me. But at this point, we're starting to get a little bit closer, so we'll see if we're getting closer to the end or if they're going to keep the show going for a few more years. We'll have to see how it goes. Write your comments below. Let me know what you guys thought about the Better Call Saul premiere. If you like this video, like it. Thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, don't forget, click that subscribe button bottom left. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again soon for another. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See ya.